The golden afternoon sun was beginning to cast long, weary shadows across the quiet streets of Landford when Dawn first stepped into the modest entrance of the new restaurant. She was a woman who carried herself with a professional grace that had been forged through years of navigating the high-stakes world of supply chains and corporate negotiations. Her eyes, sharp and observant, immediately began to catalog the surroundings with a mixture of seasoned curiosity and genuine appreciation. The interior of the building was still in that transitional phase where the scent of fresh paint and sawdust mingled with the hopeful dreams of its owners. "Hello, Jackie," Dawn called out, her voice clear and resonant in the sparsely furnished dining room. Jackie turned from a stack of menus, wiping her hands on a somewhat faded apron. Her face lit up with a look of recognition as she hurried toward the visitor. "Yeah?" she replied, her own voice carrying a hint of nervous excitement. "Dawn, from Cook County Meat and Fish." "Hi," the visitor said, extending a hand that was firm and confident. "Oh, thank you so much for coming down here," Jackie said, taking the hand and exhaling a breath she felt she had been holding for days. "You look exactly like I pictured you from all of our extensive phone calls. You have that look of someone who knows exactly which cut of beef is going to make a customer come back for more." "You are exactly as I imagined, too," Dawn responded, her gaze sweeping over the rustic tables and the newly installed lighting fixtures. "But weirdly enough, you sound different in person than you do over the wire. Perhaps it is the acoustics of this charming space." "Oh, I absolutely love what you have done here. You know, a lot of new restaurants in this area try far too hard to be something they are not, but this feels authentic and warm." "Yeah, not us," Jackie said with a self-deprecating chuckle. "We know exactly what it takes to get the job done, and we pride ourselves on doing just a little bit less than the absolute maximum effort. We find that the sweet spot of restaurant management lies in being efficient without being exhausted." Dawn laughed, a rich and genuine sound that seemed to chase away the lingering silence of the room. "You are absolutely hilarious, Jackie. You know that." "No, I am not." "Am I?" Jackie asked, though a small and bright spark of joy lit up her eyes. "Yeah, heck yeah," Dawn assured her, pulling a professional clipboard from her bag. "Okay, so I have already taken the liberty of reviewing your preliminary menu. I will put together an initial order based on our previous discussions. That way, you can price my services against the other suppliers you might be considering. I mean, those thieves who roam the county. No, I am just kidding. I mean regular suppliers, who just happen to steal your margins when you are not looking." The light-hearted conversation was briefly interrupted as the heavy back door swung open with a resounding thud. Becky stepped into the room, looking slightly disheveled and breathing heavily as if she had just completed a sprint through a domestic obstacle course. Her hair was a bit wild, and she was clutching her purse like a shield. "Sorry I am late," Becky panted, leaning against the wooden counter for a moment to catch her breath. DJ came over to watch the baby, and the little one decided to express her artistic vision by hitting him right in the eye with a heavy plastic rattle. He started crying. Then she started crying because he was crying. And then I just sat down on the floor and cried because I realized I desperately need better childcare options. It was a complete symphony of tears in my living room this afternoon. "Becky, take a breath. This is Dawn from Cook County Meat and Fish," Jackie introduced, gesturing toward their guest. "She thinks I am hilarious. So I believe we are off to a phenomenal start." "Such a pleasure to meet you, Becky," Dawn said, her professional demeanor returning but remaining warm. "I have to tell you both, I truly think the concept of elevated comfort food in this specific location is going to be a monumental winner. The community is starving for something that feels like home. The only thing you are currently missing is a signature big-ticket item to anchor the menu. Steak. You need to offer a truly magnificent steak." "We cannot afford a good steak right now," Becky replied flatly, the practical weight of their finances pressing down on her shoulders. "And I am not just talking about the customers who will look at the price point. I am talking about the people that actually own this restaurant. Our bank account is currently more of a suggestion than a reality." Jackie jumped in, trying to bridge the gap between their ambition and their current situation. "Becky," Dawn has a fantastic background that we should really respect. She was a primary buyer for a massive restaurant chain before she started her own firm. She knows where the value is hidden. I started this company after the managing partner at the Olympic Games made my life exceptionally difficult. Dawn shared, her voice carrying a hint of steel. Can you believe that? They tried to push me out. So I built my own door. The exact same thing happened to me in the stockroom of my previous employment. Jackie said, nodding in solemn solidarity. It seems the path to independence is often paved with the mistakes of former bosses who underestimated us. Yep. And look at us now. Standing in our own domain. Dawn said with a satisfied smile. Well, I am looking at you in those boots. Jackie. And I have to tell you, I absolutely love them. They have a certain rugged elegance that fits this place perfectly. Oh. Well. They would look good on your cute little figure. Too. Jackie complimented. Oh. No. I could never pull off boots like that. Jackie demurred. Oh. You would not have to pull them off yourself. Dawn joked with a mischievous glint in her eye. Your boyfriend would be the one pulling them off. And believe me, he would not stop there. Oh. Yeah. You better quit it right now. Jackie said, blushing furiously but clearly enjoying the playful banter. I mean, I do not know. I do not even have a boyfriend to worry about such complicated matters. My romantic life is currently a very quiet desert. Oh. Neither do I. Dawn admitted, her expression softening into one of shared experience. But so what? Here is to being our own soulmates. We provide our own happiness and our own success. Amen to that. Jackie said, raising an invisible glass. Yes. We love ourselves. Even if men do not seem to realize what they are missing out on. Can we please get back to the logistical reality of the food costs? Becky interrupted, her eyes scanning the pricing sheets Dawn had laid out. Let us talk about the real numbers. Okay. Okay. Dawn said, the professional supplier once again taking the lead. Well, this has been an absolute delight. I will compile a list of what I think you need to succeed. And I will send you an itemized estimate by tomorrow morning. Au revoir. That is French for goodbye. Goodbye. Jackie said, waving as Dawn exited the building. I know. Everybody knows that one. As the door closed, Becky turned to Jackie with a skeptical eyebrow raised. And before you fall completely in love with her and her expensive boots, we should probably discuss whether we can actually afford her expertise. I love her energy. Jackie insisted, staring at the door. I am not in love with her. But she represents a level of confidence I have been searching for. She is my new professional North Star. Meanwhile, across town at the Connor residence, the sound of a heavy and painful groan echoed through the hallway. Dan Connor was currently sprawled out on the living room floor, his face twisted in a grimace of sudden and sharp agony. Oh, my God. What happened? Jackie asked as she walked through the front door and saw her brother-in-law in distress. He tweaked his back while trying to nail a loose floorboard in the hallway. Mark explained, hovering over Dan with a look of helpless concern. I am fine. Dan wheezed, his voice strained. I just have to soak it in some hot water and then lay down for approximately 3 days. Or perhaps a month. No. You need to see a medical professional right now? Becky insisted. I am going to take you to the urgent care clinic this very minute. It is just a temporary twinge. Dan said, attempting to push himself up and immediately collapsing back onto the rug with a loud yelp. I am fine. Ow. I feel good. Dan began to sing through gritted teeth, trying to use humor to mask the lightning bolts of pain. I knew that I would. Whoa. I feel nice. I am sugar and spice and everything nice. The family watched with a mixture of sympathy and amusement as Dan tried to maintain his dignity while being completely immobilized by a single muscle spasm. It was a classic Connor moment, where strength and stubbornness collided in a spectacular display of domestic reality. A few hours later, The house had settled into a quieter rhythm. Harris walked in, clutching a crisp, white envelope in her hand. Her face was a mask of careful neutrality, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of something significant. Harris got a letter from Central Illinois State, Darlene announced, looking up from the kitchen table with a curious expression. The college or the penitentiary? Dan asked from his recliner, where he was currently draped in ice packs and a heavy blanket. Congratulations. You are officially a mud turtle, Darlene said, her voice filled with a rare and genuine pride. Oh, my God. She actually got in. That is truly great news. Finally, someone from this family has made it into a legitimate institution of higher learning. Hey, I went to college, Jackie argued from the sofa, looking up from her book. You went to art school? Jackie, Darlene countered with a smirk. That is basically a place where you pay to color and they eventually give you a library card. How much is this academic endeavor going to cost us? Dan asked, the practical reality of the situation always being his primary concern. I do not know the exact figures yet, Darlene admitted. But now that I am a divorced, unemployed single mother with no visible assets and a very colorful history, we might actually have a legitimate shot at some significant financial aid. My lifelong plan to systematically destroy my financial life is finally starting to pay off for the next generation. I told you to stick with your plan. Jackie joked. You know what? Harris asked me to bring some clothes over to Odessa's place. So I am going to take them over there right now and show this letter to her. I want her to see that there is a way out of here. She is finally going to let you know the truth about the situation. Is she not? Dan asked. At least now I have a legitimate shot at getting her out of that environment and into a dorm room, Darlene said, grabbing her heavy coat. There are no drugs in dorm rooms. Just excessive amounts of caffeine and sleep deprivation. Darlene arrived at the apartment complex where Odessa lived. The hallway smelled of old cabbage and broken dreams. She knocked on the door, and a young man with bloodshot eyes and a bewildered expression answered. Hello. Odessa. Harris is expecting me, Darlene said, trying to sound authoritative despite the odd surroundings. Before you reach the other side. You see, the young man said, leaning against the doorframe. Answer me these questions 3. I believe somebody just smoked a large bowl while watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Darlene observed, stepping past him into the hazy apartment. Correct. You may pass, the man whispered, closing the door behind her. Not exactly what you expected. Huh? Harris asked, appearing from a side room. We usually save the human sacrifices for the bedroom on Tuesday nights. Hey, Mom. Guess what? Darlene said, ignoring the sarcasm and thrusting the letter forward. You are officially a mud turtle. I have not even put on my makeup yet. Give me a break with the nicknames. Harris joked, though she took the letter with a hand that was visibly trembling. No. You really got into college. Central Illinois State. They have an official tour scheduled for this Friday afternoon. Yeah. I am not going to that, Harris said, her voice suddenly flat as she tossed the letter onto a nearby table. What? Why on earth not? Darlene asked, her heart sinking. I start working at Price Warehouse next Monday morning, Harris explained, her jaw set in a firm line of adult determination. They have a comprehensive program for employees to earn a business degree online. It is practical, it is paid for by the company, and it makes sense for someone in my position. Well, I do not want you to go to school in a virtual environment, Darlene said. I want you to have the real experience of sitting in a lecture hall. It is a phenomenal deal. Mom, it only costs $350 a year out of my own pocket, Harris argued. Yeah, but I want you to live in a crowded dorm and gain 15 pounds of unhealthy weight and catch mononucleosis like a normal teenager, Darlene said. That is for rich kids with safety nets. We do not have the money for traditional college. Actually, we already have an official appointment with the financial aid office, Darlene insisted. They want to help us navigate this. And look at the letter. It says they look forward to meeting you personally. Nobody ever looks forward to meeting you. Harris scoffed. We know they write that to everyone on the mailing list. It is a form letter. No, they do not, Darlene said firmly. This is written directly to you, Miss Harris-Kohner. And why do you want a business degree anyway? You should be studying writing. You remember when the local newspaper printed your article about how much you hate Lanford and the entire community was enraged? That was the happiest I have ever seen you. You were glowing with the power of your own words. Yeah. The mayor called me a public embarrassment to the community. Harris remembered with a small, genuine smile. Of course that made me feel good. It was my finest hour of journalism. Okay. I will go on the tour. Harris relented. But I am doing it for you. Mom. Not for me. Mud turtles. Jackie cheered when she heard the news later that evening at the